All right, Saints fans, we are, as of the posting of this video, 2 weeks away from week one of the 2022-2023 season, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here, recap the Saints versus Chargers game. We're going to take the good, the meh, and the ugly. If you saw the game, you'll probably be able to predict most of this, and if you didn't see the game, here's a pretty quick recap of what I felt were the notable bits from the game. And then next week, we're going to do a season preview where I'm going to predict. Now, having seen the draft, having seen the preseason, I'm going to predict all of the Saints games going forward for the season with my reasoning on why. And then at the end of the year, we'll see how many I got right and how many I got wrong. So, kicking things off, obviously the good, with really one exception. The good could be summed up very simply as all of the starters on offense and defense. Like, that simple. The offense was flawless, almost literally. Jameis Winston completed all of his passes. Andy Dalton, I believe, also completed all of his passes. The offense went like a hot knife through butter through San Diego's defense. Now, it wasn't all of their starters. We understand that. It's preseason. We understand that. But in those circumstances, you want to see your top offense and your top defense dominate the opposition. And that's what we saw. We saw a ton of great plays. I mean, really, the deep ball down the field over Roby was the only blemish on the defense in the first half, and on the offensive side, I mean, we'll get to that in the ugly section. But really, only one thing marred the performance for the offense. Mark Ingram had 2 touchdowns. Callaway made plays. There's a crazy play. Unfortunately, Traquan almost made a play and kind of got hurt on it. And since the guy got hurt, I'm not gonna do any Traquan slander today. Like he went all out. He tried to make the catch. It doinked off of him. Callaway ended up catching it. It's kind of a weird play, but obviously he got hurt. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, he's on the bubble for the roster. So that didn't really help him. So it's unfortunate, but yeah. Outside of that, really, as far as the starters for the offense and the defense in the first half, like there's that one blemish which we'll talk about in a second, and other than that, nothing. It was really good. As far as the meh, I have a few mehs from this game, not a ton, but I have a few mehs. My meh, number one, unfortunately, because I really liked him. I still think he's got potential. I still think he's shown some really good flashes. I thought he showed some really good flashes in the fourth quarter. But Amez Abram Smith, he did show some nice flashes. He showed some great ability to make the first guy miss, which generally should be what you expect of a good running back. If they can make the first guy miss and the offensive line does their job, then it should be a positive play. But the offensive line, obviously, that he's playing behind isn't the main one, and so there was more than one guy there to make miss, and there weren't a lot of positive plays, but it was still kind of meh. And there was one play in particular, he really had a chance to make a big play. I think it was a safety in the open field, kind of half committed, half didn't to making a move, and ended up, getting tackled with, really leaving some yards on the table. I think there was more to be had there if he'd been a little bit more decisive and forceful, which is kind of the type of player that he is. So, kind of meh. Again, not meh isn't bad, meh isn't good, meh is just meh. So, that's where he was with that. I kind of want to give Roby a meh just for allowing a deep ball from Chase Daniel. But he's been so good. Like again, it's meh isn't bad, it isn't good. It's just meh. He was meh. It's okay. It was fine. It's not a big concern, but meh. His first mistake of the preseason. Well, we'll be okay. Super Bowl champ, he'll be fine. Um, Probably you played in one of the 2 best defenses of the last 20 years. So yeah, he'll be fine. He's okay. But really, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a couple other guys. I thought Eric Wilson had an up and down game. I thought he was kind of a meh. I still think he's gonna make. Still think he might make this roster, but he was a meh. But didn't really do much. But he did not do much either. Just meh, 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 meh. Oh, one other guy that was good. I should be ashamed for forgetting this. Justin Evans is making this fucking team. Like, that is no debate to me. Justin Evans is making this fucking team. Created a fumble, picture perfect punch out. Just picture perfect on the play. Had another play right around the goal line. Excellent contest. Created, blew the guy up, but more importantly, played the ball first and then played through his man to ensure that the catch wasn't completed, but played the ball and didn't give the refs any opportunity to throw a bullshit flag, which he's got that fleur de lis on his uniform and on his helmet. They're going to be looking for a chance. Didn't give him one. Excellent play. Justin Evans is definitely someone who deserved a major shout out for being part of the good from this game, and I forgot about that for him. Also, Kirk Merritt was the other good that I forgot. I knew I was forgetting a couple of guys. I think Kirk Merritt just made this team. I don't know whose spot he's going to take. I don't know if they're going to have him be running back 4. I don't know if they're going to have him be wide receiver 6. I could see Hardy or Traquan or both getting moved to teams, and him and Callaway taking those spots. I'm not sure, but I think he's just got a lot of attributes that I don't think they want to let out the building, and I'm not sure he makes it through waivers. In fact, I'm actually pretty sure he doesn't. There's a lot there to consider, and while the Saints' top 3 receivers is really good, something to keep in mind is Jarvis is only on a 1-year deal. Mike still has injury concerns, and you look at it that way, you kind of want to be able to stash a couple of guys on the latter part of that group, which Merritt and Callaway can be those guys who can give you real NFL snaps, and in the case of Merritt, have like really good measurables, and a really intriguing upside of guys that you can potentially develop, and whether it's this year, but especially going into next year, guys that can be complements to Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. You do need those. And we know Traquan isn't one of those guys. So I would be unpleasantly surprised if Kirk Merritt didn't make the team at this point. I just think with the combination of his attributes, the way he's flashing, the way he's making plays, I just don't think you can let that guy out of the building. So I think that is actually all the goods, unless my idiot brain decides to come up with another way down. So let's get into the bad. And the bad from this game, your bad MVPs are the combination, the disaster tag team of Andres Pete and Juwan Johnson. So Andres Pete, much like my fat ass with all these snacks, he just can't help himself. He's either hurting himself or he's hurting somebody else. Stepped on our nice, shiny new first round pick's foot, Trevor Penning, which pretty sure is the cause of the torn ligament in his foot. It might be a partial tear, it could be a full tear, we don't know. And then you see later on, in the same play, Juwan Johnson just missiles over and basically collapses the guy, who potentially could have still been getting stepped on by Pete, and while having his foot stepped on, having that shift in position and going down would really explain, an injury to the foot. So who knows if that's exactly what caused it, but as of right now, Juwan meteoring in for absolutely no reason, and Pete just being Pete. God. It's not the end of the world. Hurst is a serviceable left tackle. Ramczyk can play left tackle. Pete, if he has to, can play left tackle. Like the Saints have options. So there's belief that Landon Young can play right tackle. So is it the end of the world? No. But does it suck? Yeah, absolutely. And in particular in the run game, Penning and Pete next to each other, and as run for run blocking, that is a force multiplier, positive tandem that like has a huge impact on the game. Pete's a really good run blocker. Penning has already shown himself to be a really good run blocker. Not having those two guys is a bit of a bummer. Could Penning come back by the end of the year? Possibly. We'll see. I've seen reports by a few different people that maybe come December, but again, those are reports. They're not from officially from the team. They're also not directly from the doctor. And even if they were, expected 4 to 6 week recovery time. Yeah, but it could still take 8. We don't know until we know. So it's a huge bummer, especially because Penning was showing so much progress. Game over game, practice over practice, really seeming to pick things up and improve quickly. Like he got Jameis hit one time in the game. Kind of did a one arm on the guy, and then they got shedded. The guy shedded him on the inside as Jameis stepped up in the pocket. He didn't really have. If his footwork is slightly better and he had a little bit better position, he's able to stop that. Jameis doesn't get blasted as he completes the play. But even with that, like it's not Ruiz level. Although being fair to Ruiz, he actually had a pretty solid game. He had some nice plays, and he hasn't had anything close to Ruiz level mistakes so far through the preseason. And if he can maintain this level of play throughout the regular season, like he's fine. And if he's just fine, Doug Marrone for president. That man's a miracle worker. And it did take a miracle to fix this country. But that aside, yeah, as far as those, the only one that are really bad, like just really fucking bad, for me, bad, Peyton Turner. 3 weeks in a row, doesn't do shit. No impact plays, no pass rush, nothing against UPS drivers. I don't care what kind of crazy athletic stuff you can do on a goalpost. Like, that's nice. Joe Green and Josh Smith are two of the best athletes that have ever been in the NBA, and neither one of them were worth shit. Although Josh Smith was he was better than a decent player for a while, but once, teams kind of figured him out, he was kind of out of the league for a reason. And Josh Smith, just as a prototype as far as wasted potential, would be like 100 times better than Peyton Turner. So that's actually a disservice to Josh Smith to compare him. Maybe Swaggy P. Stupidest fucking nickname ever. But anyway, yeah, Peyton Turner. Look, it's 3-year rule. 3-year rule is always a thing. Could he develop in time? We'll see. But right now, this minute today, he's trash. He's a bust. He sucks. Can he get better? Can he turn around? Yeah, of course. And if he does, then the opinion changes, because the facts will force it to change. But at this moment in time, he sucks. And any argument to the contrary is just that. You're being contrary. You're not talking the facts. You're not focusing on them. You just, he's a first round pick. Oh, he's got that. Your list of 50 excuses of why he sucks is fine, but the fact is he still sucks. He can't produce a stat. He's not producing pressures. He's not having any type of impact on games, even when going against third, fourth, and 96 string guys. And why? Oh, there isn't a 96 string. Well, what's the difference between fifth string and 96 string in the preseason? None of these guys are making the NFL. He can't make plays against non-NFL players, but he's going to make plays against NFL players? Not a reasonable expectation. Again, it's possible. His athletic profile says he should be a productive player, but he's not. So, hey, what do you think of that draft pick? Pretty accurate description. So that's where we are with that. But again, we started with the good, and that's really where things should end. The Saints won this game convincingly when the starters were out there, which to a large degree is the only thing that matters. They flat out dominated this game, and we'll talk about this a bit more next week when we do the season preview, but I don't know why we say we. Like, I'm fat, but I ain't two people fat. yeah, I mean it's if Davenport is healthy, the Peyton Turner stuff doesn't really matter nearly as much. And if the rest of this defense and the rest of this offense looks the way it did today, or sorry, this weekend, and you add Davenport and Michael Thomas to those groups, teams are in trouble. Like this, they're gonna do nasty things to a lot of these teams. Nasty things to them. It's there's gonna be a lot of people eating a lot of crow. If they look anything like that, and then add those two players, they're gonna be a problem. Even with Trevor Penning getting hurt. So that's really where I'm at. For the most part, I think it's very positive. Certainly could go better. You know, you don't want to potentially lose your first one of your first round draft picks for the year, but it was a position they had depth at. He was more of a developmental prospect than a needs to start year one guy. They do have options, multiple options for to handle tackle. So it's certainly not the end of the world. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. And it at least for now does not diminish my optimism for this team and their potential. So talk to you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed the show. Always appreciate anybody who wants to comment, like and subscribe to the channel. There will be multiple pieces of weekly content throughout the season, and then the occasional just for fun topics. I like to review video games, talk video games, anime, comics. Football's not the only thing I'm nerdy about, so football's not the only thing I like to talk about. And if there's any topics that you think would be interesting or fun, go ahead and put them in the comments section. And if it's something I have an opinion on, which if you've ever interacted with me on Twitter would be almost everything, I'll make a video about it and we'll have some fun. Hope you guys enjoyed.